Hello, Munions! Welcome back! It is time for Pillars of Eternity. As you remember last time, we found out where everybody hangs out. Apparently, it's on a branch of a tree somewhere. It's unfortunate for them. We hang out at cooler places. Not there. Our companions went kersplat in the first, 30 seconds. But we found a new guy. So, let's see where that's going to take us. Floorboards are sticky with spills that no one has bothered to clean. But do some cleanup around here.
Well met, friend.
Hello and welcome to the Oh, It's You. Tinfrith told us what you did for him. Such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms. Tinfrith said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. So what would you like? I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let me see. The actual building's been here for years. The Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. Tinfrith's the big draw. I'm sure we'll get the big crowds back again in no time. He used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. He even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound. Still sitting upstairs, pining after him. Poor old girl. Placing it up in my hands somehow. My very own inn. A lot of hard work involved. But it's not worth it so far. Oh, but it's been worth it so far. Thought she was quitting. Please sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have two available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of good meal today. Unless you're fond of cold porridge. What else is going on in this inn? Tinfrith. Ah, it's you, my savior. So good to be back. Do not think I will let this go unrewarded. I've decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets. My dearest recipe. After this, you will eat nothing else. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. Aha. Teach me anything? I will name a dish in your honor. Get to it, Tinfrith. Over here. Ale. Beer. Villager. Got some minstrels in here. Just coming to town. Kith like you seem to do alright. Thank you. I do well for myself. What we got here? Milk. Rain. Bacon. We've got a hearty laugh going on. Good to see new faces around. Feels like the village gets smaller by the day. Because everybody's hanging out at the tree. Place is held out. A drunkard! And who are you then? Another fool to come to answer Redrick's invitation? Our great lord had my sister run out of town after the buoy was born. She was the only family I had left. Not sure where she is now. Blazes, I need another drink. That probably won't help you. Drinking your sorrows away. What we got here? Scroll of fan flames creates a cone of fire in front of the caster, causing burn damage to anyone in the area of effect. What are you doing? Oh! As you near, you feel a vibrant history containing the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. Reach out for the soul. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack, one item after the other. Careful deliberation, undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes. She gives up all the semblance of order and shoves everything she can in the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to anyone who will listen. Anyone heading out on high tides. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear in the distance. A tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. Ooh. As you near, you feel a vibrant history. Storm Brightblade. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks about it and what it does, then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and he takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up his shot, explaining what he's doing as he does, and lets the arrows fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking towards the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold a bow. A noise comes from the tree line near the practice venue, and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind them. He draws an arrow and lines up the shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosening the arrow, he wastes no time and quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost amongst the trees. There's sudden explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lazy shot. They stop talking, seeing him holding the bow and leading the deer with a knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he looses this last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing heart and lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. Wow, I can read your history. Bow to me. I know everything. Carousel. Grab a drink, friend. Not much else is of worth in this town, says the woman from Thane. Hey, we said we wouldn't mention Thane. Just like Najita. As you near, you feel vibrant history. I'm grabbing all your souls.
I'll have it in no time.
Oh yes.
The
I know
work
what's
of
in
a
this.
moment.
Rapier. Added armor. Duelist hat. Sell it. Sell it all. On down here. What is this? The Black Hound. Hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. Looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Sorry, girl, I don't think he's coming back. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. Dog's ear perks up. It trots over to you and barks happily. Got a Doge! Got my Doge! Go get a room.
Welcome.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say I could speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone, I'd be happy to send them your way. I have money for that? Out of your mind.
Good day to you.
Room. Take a common room. Need to rest up. Ah, I feel so good by the fireplace. Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. Oh, look, it's the hanging tree. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of Gilded Vale's gallows tree, creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face is shriveled inward like molding fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. Wrong, Limpy. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger. She's a dwarf. She can't loom larger. Till she's mere inches from your face. Suddenly her head snaps up and her eyes open, and they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes her stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air she speaks a word. Watcher. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. Yes. Let us find this dwarf woman. Then I told her, that's not the pistol. Ha ha ha. Check out this house. Oh, who are you? Alfra. A dear wooden woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself, or perhaps to her unborn child, for she is clearly quite pregnant. Maybe she's just big. Fat shamer. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
Welcome.
Well, finally, I was starting to think. Oh, I'm sorry. I was expecting someone else. Can I help you? Were you with one of the caravans? Master Otima's by chance. You knew Otima? Well, no more than most here, I'd say. He doesn't usually come this way, but they say he's a reliable old fellow. Wait, why do you say knew? Alfred covers her mouth with her hand, eyes wide horror. For a few moments she can manage nothing but a strangled, voiceless gasping. Her eyes brimming with tears. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Lisa was always so certain she could take on any danger. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I can't believe she's gone. Oh, man. This was her sister. We had her. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive somewhere. Kalisa misses you. That's kind of you to offer, but I don't know if I can impose this on you. It's not a small favor. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Kalisa as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gilded Vale has been soulless, empty. It's happened to so many mothers, and Lord Redrick, he's exiled all of them, calling a sign of the gods' disfavor. With my Hathort gone, I don't know how I'd manage if I lost my home too. I hoped Kalisa could help me. They say Ranga, the old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being Hallowborn. She moved south to Anslog's Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey's too far for me. I can't make it as I am, but I don't have anyone else now with Kalisa gone. Please, can you help me? We will find her. You will? Oh, gods bless you. Here, I'll give you coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with that. I think it's a drink she fashions out of, well, I'm not sure, but it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Anslog's Compass is what we call the Lagoon of the South. You have to cross the wilds to get there. That's what keeps me from trying myself. Thank you again. Truly, you'll be saving us both. Kitty kitty. I got a doge. Tell me about the village. Let me think. We're farmers mostly, but there's always been work and opportunity for people coming in from elsewhere. In the old days at least. Blackhammer Smithy's been here for a long time. That's Chautano's place south of the mill. And then there's the Black Hound, just a ways south of here. I have to admit, I don't go out much anymore with that horrible tree out there. Things aren't like they used to be, but I don't have anywhere else to go. The Raedrick family has held title over these lands for generations. Keep is northeast of here, past the eastern wood. I wouldn't go near, mind. He doesn't see visitors or petitioners. Not these days. Some people say that. Well, there are some bad seeds in that line. A weaker soul. Maybe that's why. Well, never mind. I'm sure Lord Raedrick has his reasons. Let's get out of here. Zlox, the usurper. As you near, you feel vibrant history containing the essence of this man's soul. Why does everybody in this town seem dead? I just feel their souls. Back to the hanging tree. Caldera de Baranzi. The squat, distant body of an elderly dwarf woman dangles from a thin, crooked bow that sags at the tug of her noose. The bloated purple flesh of her neck, worn away in patches like moth-eaten linen, bulges over the rope that suspends her, and her lifeless head lolls forward rigidly from one side to the other when the breeze shifts. You perceive a faint glow around her that casts no light on its surroundings. There's tepid warmth to it. You feel somehow that you could reach out and touch it, not with your hands, but with some aspect of yourself that has no worldly dimension. Ooh. Take a deep breath, clearing your mind, focus on your objective. As you exhale, you feel yourself spreading out toward the hanging woman, perceiving all that lies between you and her with new, unfamiliar awareness. Once you have expanded enough to reach her, there's a sudden jolt to your mind, a ringing electric surge of images, words, and sounds. Involuntarily, you shut your eyes and feel yourself being pulled down to some deeper consciousness in space occupied only by you and the hanging woman. And when you open them again, she's staring at you with eyes clouded in a milky fog, her body still swaying in the wind. You no longer feel from a tree that stands planted in a misty void. The woman gives a slow nod of her head, the rope creaking as she does so, and she smiles at you.
Have you come here for me, dear? Or have you gotten lost? Ah, it is both, I think. Yes?
How are you able to speak to me?
Is that what we're doing? Perhaps it just seems that way. Perhaps it is the easiest way for your mind to make sense of it. I think it is a very good choice. The world looks a little different than it used to, is that it? Feels like you're noticing things for the first time that have always been there. You have seen past the shroud. It only takes an instant. Your soul remembers, yes? Remembers how it sees when it leaves the body, like being reminded of a dream you had forgotten.
Oh.
You are a watcher now, and a watcher you will stay.
I am a watcher. What is a watcher?
What indeed? Long hours have many animancers spent studying such things. Not I, though. Not I. I'll tell you what I know, though, since fair is fair, and here we are visiting, you and I, and it reminds me of better times. Souls pass on. Some say through Audra stones, which are the blood veins of the world.
The green thingies.
They leave the world for a time and are reborn into it, sometimes more than they were before, but usually less and seldom the same. For all souls there is a time where they do not live, yet have not passed on, and those souls roam the world, same as you or I, either leaving or lost. But no one sees them because they have forgotten how.
Oh, maybe that's the people I see. They're not really there.
A watcher sees, though, knows what to look for. And sometimes they know a person just by looking at them, know where they've been in ages past when their bodies were other bodies, see memories even their owner can't recall. A wonder to behold when all goes well.
When all goes well, what do you mean?
Oh, nothing to be afraid of, I'm sure. It's just much to take in for some. Sometimes there's trouble sleeping or other difficulties.
Oh. See?
You should see old Meerwald. He could tell you much more than I. A watcher just like you. Helped many in his day. Took up in an old keep no one would claim. Not far, not far. Kadnua, beyond the Black Meadow. He will welcome the company.
Ah, I see. I think I survived a Bailiwick.
Did you now, dear? My, that would be something, wouldn't it? Could be luck, could certainly be. A storm can be a careless thing. Or maybe it got its hands around your soul but couldn't pick it up.
My
A
soul
soul
is
can be
heavy.
heavy if it stayed in one piece through its time. Strong souls,
Strong.
we call them in the trade. Cold, I mean. Called them. Those days are all behind me,
They
no?
certainly are.
Oh, yes. Entropy. Rimagan's work. We know little of why or how. We lose pieces of ourselves when we die and pick up pieces of others when we are born again, but less than what we lost. We tried to stop it with the animantic sciences, but with little success.
Get better at your job.
A very small few resist Rimergan's influence and stay together through some force of defiance, at least for a time. But they all succumb eventually. Me? I'll bore you to tears, though.
Let's find out.
And here I thought you'd come to visit me in particular. Caldara de Baranzi, of the
Thank you.
Valian Royal Academy of Animantic Sciences. Not the greatest of their number, but I came here all the same because this was where help was needed.
What happened to you? She laughs, a raspy choke cackle gasping between rows of buttery yellow teeth. Seeing your blank expression, she catches herself.
Oh, come now. Such a question. As though the answer were plain as a rope tied for strangling. Allow an old dwarf her last bit of... Well, I came where I was needed, didn't I? Offered my services to Lord Radric for a pittance. A humble pittance.
Humble.
I was to examine the Lord's wife, see why the gods have seen fit to poison her womb. Studied her for months, looked high and low for impurities, tested her valence,
Used her like
the
a lab rat.
permeability of her essence. Do you know what I found?
Death.
Nothing at all. A healthy woman, head to toe, blessed with a beautiful soul. Such a sweet woman, too. Meek, but warm-hearted. A few months' time, and the lord of the house demanded answers. For a time, I told him what he wanted to hear. Oh, yes, my lord. She is riddled with imbalances. I must have time to cure her. As the birth drew near, he grew impatient, as lords do. And this is where I've ended up.
What's an animancer?
A student of the soul. Something so basic, yet so poorly understood. But so many breakthroughs have been made in my lifetime. Had been made.
That's right. You're hanging from a tree.
To hear the
Don't forget
locals
it.
tell it, we're a gang of soul manglers that preys upon the weak-minded. And the worst of us are. But the best of us, the best? Inspirations, miracle workers. My parents were soul twins, miserable before they met, empty
Soul
inside.
twins?
It was an animancer who helped one find the other, turned their lives around. You wouldn't believe the stories.
I don't.
Amnesiacs helped to remember their lives. The suicidal brought back from the brink of oblivion. The elderly afforded extra moments to say their goodbyes. How soon we forget when we're afraid. It's a fascinating science. A fascinating time to be alive in a place like Deerwood that does not control the research, no? I love the Valian Republics for many things, but their recent caution will leave them behind, I fear. Of course, dear.
Farewell.
Goodbye, my dear. It was lovely visiting.
Goodbye. Oh. You alright? You seemed lost just now. Oh, I don't know. Do we tell this guy? It's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about. Oh, no choice. Well, that is interesting. And I expect this has something to do with the hooded figures in the ruins. In any case, I appreciate your honesty. Since we're traveling together, it's probably wise for us to share these things. You know anything about Watchers? Only that they're rare, and they seem to have unique insights into certain soul conditions, as you just demonstrated. Let's continue on.
$17 and a half. 17 and a half. Well, could be 18, depending on how you count the dwarf woman.
A half.
The dwarf woman. You were trying to figure out whether to count her as a full person. I think you oughta.
Oh. Let's stick with a half.
The people hanging from the tree. 18 of them. Well, last I counted, anyway.
Okay. Is that what you people do for fun around here?
Name's Adair. Though to the people around here, might as well be 19.
You're up next.
Don't think I'd put you much higher than 22, 23 tops. You look like the sort that likes to get involved.
Makes you think I was interested in the dwarf woman?
Well, I was smoking over here, saw you staring at her. Twice I refilled my pipe. You never so much as blinked. Your mouth was so slack I took you for a Radric at first.
Been out of sorts lately. Of course, we all got our bad days when we stand perfectly still and stare at corpses for a while without blinking. Let's talk to him. We'll kill him if we need to.
Careful, friend. Best not use that word round here. There'd be any number of Radric bootlickers within earshot.
Oh?
Ciphers, animancers, watchers. Same thing in the eyes of folks around here, Radric especially. They come through these parts all the time with their cures, preying on the desperate. None of them are who they claim to be.
Well, I am, sir.
Of course, seeing you with that funny look, I'd be halfway inclined to believe you were having some kind of communion with that dwarf.
I gave her a cracker.
Either case, maybe I'm not 19 after all. No offense.
Yeah.
The town's had it in for me for a long time now. Only fellow who ever stuck up for me, well, he's number 18 up there.
Oh, that's
My
unfortunate.
headman on the farm. Used to be my captain during the war.
War? Saints' War, only one in my lifetime. The fellow decides he's the living incarnation of Aothus, overthrows Radceres, marches on Deerwood, so we gave him Deerwood and hello. Let's say Deerwood and hello.
Up.
Blew him up. Okay. God of Rebirth and Redemption, formerly, anyhow. Maybe they call him something different where you're from. Why was your headman hanged? Got involved. Radric sent men down here the other day. They had it on good authority someone in town was working with cults, plotting Radric's overthrow. If he didn't come forward right then and there, they'd hang every last one of us. No one was coming forward. So Swithin, that's my headman, he steps up and says it's him. They took him at his word. Bound to happen sooner or later. Not for plotting against Radric, then for protecting me. What does the town have against
Pick
you?
the wrong god. That's what it comes down to.
Happens.
Used to be a lot of Athos worshippers in Gilded Vale. That mess of rocks over there, that was a temple to him, to give you some idea.
Got it.
Then one day, somebody named Widewind shows up on Deerwood's doorstep. Says he's the living flesh of Aethys. Got an army with him.
A lot of people like that in the world.
Suddenly, Aethys isn't so popular in these parts. My brother Woden and me, neither of us believed it. No way was that Aethys. He enlisted, then I did too. But, he didn't make it back.
Apparently not. Now you're gonna hang on the tree.
After the war, people took to punishing Aethys worshippers, accusing them of treason. Got real ugly, especially after the legacy started. Folks needed someone to blame. I was safe because I fought, but then this rumor starts that my brother, that he was on the wrong side.
Oh.
And I wasn't so safe anymore. Until my headman stepped in and said they'd have to hang him to get to me.
They did.
Seems that's no longer a concern. Of course, the townies don't do the hanging these days, but when Radric's men come, they got no problem doing the pointing.
You can see why I was eager to leave. Drinking mostly. When in fact I'm on my way out. Just haven't figured where I'm going yet. Not a whole lot of places out there that don't think Wadewin's legacy started with Wadewin. We could travel together, sir. Where are you headed? Someplace called Cadenia. I guess. There's no watch there who might be able to help
I seem to
you.
remember hearing something about that years ago. He tamed that place. People would seek him out for all kinds of things. Troubles of the soul, questions for the departed. Of course, that was back when you didn't have to say Watcher with a hush on your breath.
There's no hush on my breath, sir.
A man such as that, there'd be things I'd want to ask him. Don't know why I never thought of it before. Not sure how I feel about setting out with a stranger, and a strange one at that. But, truth be told, you might be the only one in town who wouldn't feel some relief seeing me swing from that tree.
That's true. Not relief. I might laugh. There's a fine reason if I ever heard one.
All right, then. Guess I'll do some sightseeing. Long as you're not the one picking the sights.
Someone who got tired of all the hangings. He's on the run now. Probably will be till they catch him. Let's get going. Check this temple out. Oh my. What you doing down here, buddy? Man lies resting against the wall, lit by the dim illumination of the fading scones.
Good day to you.
I thought you were some... Never mind. Whoever you are, you've traveled a long way to reach a dark place. This temple isn't what it used to be. Probably for the best. Times being as they are. I'm no looter, if that's what you're thinking. Not one of the faithful either. Just wanted to do some good, I suppose. Got my arm clawed up for it. Maybe you'd have better luck. Better luck with what? These ruins around us used to be a temple of Aoth, a scattered god, a grand temple at that. His worshippers would come from all over the Deerwood, from Radsaris even. Not so much from Radsaris these days. Till the war, of course. Even then you'd get some of the stubborn ones, the ones that couldn't get it through their heads that their god was dead and gone. Go on. Once the legacy started, Lord Raedric decided he'd been too lenient on the Eothians. He had his people go in and put them to the sword, left them down there, buried under a heap of rock. After that, Raedric ordered the temple sealed. It's been years like that. Up until recently, Lord Raedric hopes that if we rededicate the temple to a living god, then we'll be forgiven, and the legacy will end, see? But until then, the temple is as you see it, unguarded. That's where you come in. Those priests, maybe they didn't have a lick of sense between them. They still didn't deserve to go like that. Chopped down in their god's house. Doesn't sit right with me. You can get down there, find their remains. Maybe we can finally give them a proper burial. No small task. There's coin in it for you if you need motivating. A pleasant surprise to see that someone around here has a shred of respect for the dead. Take it you aren't supposed to be in here. Well, I meant to be in and out, nice and quick. I'm not hurting anyone. It's just Lord Raedric's forbidden anybody from having anything to do with the scattered god. It'd be a little harder to explain to him than you. It's a good cause, though, isn't it? You could make some coin in the process. I'll find them, and by the flame I owe you a good turn. But listen, the temple's been sealed off for so long, it's crawling with creatures. But if you get past them, the priests would have been down on the lower floor. They'll be there still, if they're anywhere. Those priests had all kinds of secret chambers, switches in the walls, trick sconces, the kind of thing. Keep an eye out. Take care down there. I wouldn't want to send someone else after your remains. I'll wait here by the stairs and keep a lookout. Maybe try to patch myself up some. Alright, Munions. Well, we didn't get a lot of action in this episode, but we got to find out a little bit about what's going on with the hanging tree, and we discovered we are a watcher. We watch things. Small dwarves, apparently. We've discovered this temple here, and there is bodies we need to recover. So make sure you check out next time. We can go gather those bodies, and there's going to be lots of fighting on the way. Thanks for watching.